Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. It's your girl, Milagros here. And it is March. During the month of March, we are working on empowering ourselves and tapping into all of the things that make us who we are so that we can not only live authentic and unapologetic lives, but we can do so from a place of real love and gratitude. So each video this month is going to focus on a different tool for you that can help you find the power within yourself. Because when we find the power within ourselves, we make better choices for our lives, for the desired life that we are looking for, and we start moving in the direction of recognizing that we're already capable and able of doing whatever it needs to be done in order to live the life that we deserve to live. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about making choices. And first and foremost, we have to acknowledge that there comes a certain point in our lives where the decisions and the choices that we make implement and create our lives. And so when you're a child, you don't have a choice. If your parents are going to the supermarket and you have to go with them, you have to go with them. You don't really have a choice. But as an adult, you have a choice to bring that child or not, to pay for a babysitter, to drop that child off, to not go to the supermarket, right? We have more choices as adults. Now, granted, a lot of our choices are based on old programming. It might be based on trauma. It might be based on a desire or a goal. We make those decisions from somewhere. The first thing that we have to do is acknowledge that we make those decisions, regardless of where the source of the decision choice comes from. We are the common denominator and we make the choices. When we acknowledge that we get to make choices and that we make them consistently and continuously throughout our lives, we also acknowledge then, because that's just how it goes, right? It's reasonable to believe, rather, that we acknowledge that our lives and where we are right now in this moment is based on a series of choices that we made, which is also serves to believe that we are now able also to change the direction of our lives. We're also able to make different choices, and there are always choices. A lot of times I'll hear people say, well, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. You always had a choice. Are there different circumstances and outcomes for different choices? Absolutely, but you always have a choice. Whether or not you feel that you're not able to make a certain choice based on fear of what might come from that is a whole different ball game. The reality is we have to acknowledge that we have choices, we make them, and that those choices equal where we are right now in our lives, and that if we want to change where we are in our lives, we have to change the choices that we're making. So here's what I have for you today. Three things. First and foremost, I always ask myself before I make a decision, is this decision empowering me? Because if it's not, if the choice that I'm going to select isn't going to serve me and benefit me in some healthy, love, gratitude, peaceful kind of way, then I really know better and I shouldn't be headed in that direction, right? So that's the first thing. Is this going to empower and serve me in a healthy and beneficial way, this choice? Then the second thing that I ask myself is, what's the payoff? What's the payoff of that particular choice? Because sometimes we make decisions based on fear. We think that it's love, right? But it's really us acting in fear. And then when we acknowledge what the payoff is, we go, ooh, that is in fact fear. That's based on fear. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do this instead. Voila, empowerment, because we changed our choice. And then the third thing that I always do is I'm really careful about my words and my language. So I used to say all the time, I have to do laundry, I have to do dishes, I have to go to work, I have to. And then I realized that I chose to buy all those clothes and bring them into my house, so I get to do laundry because I chose to buy those clothes. I choose to go work out. I choose that job. I literally showed up. I submitted a resume. I did a phone interview. I did an interview. I begged and prayed for the job. I got the job. And then I'm complaining about it. I chose that job. I chose it. So we have to start changing our language when it comes to the decisions that we have made so that we can change the energy that we bring into those spaces. So again, the first thing is to acknowledge that we make the choices that build our lives, and when we acknowledge that we make those choices, it empowers us to be able to change those choices. And then the three things that I do is the first question, which is this serving me? Is this empowering me? Is it benefiting me in some healthy way, because if it's not, I probably shouldn't be in there, right? The second thing is what's the payoff here? And if the payoff is not something that I choose to participate in anymore, then I can choose to back out, because it's all a choice. And then the third thing is, what words am I using when it comes to this situation? Am I using this like, oh, woe to me, I have to, when the truth is that I get to, or I want to, or I choose to, or I decided to, right? And then using those words also helps empower us. And then finally, is the energy. So once I start changing my words and I say, okay, this is my decision, and yes, it feels like love and peace, or maybe at this moment it doesn't, but while I'm looking for another job, I'm going to just show up at this job, and I'm going to bring love, and I'm going to bring energy into this space, and I'm going to figure out how to do that for myself so that I'm not going through 8 hours of my day begrudgingly. Right? Because that's not helpful, and that's not empowering either. Because if I don't have a choice, which you always do, right now at this moment with my job, I do have a choice with the energy that I can bring. And I did this because we always have a choice. You could quit your job. You could find another job. You absolutely. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that this is helpful. If you have other tips on how to make healthier decisions that empower us, by all means, please put it in the comments. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please share the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe. I hope you have a fantastical week, a magical weekend, and super sparkly everything all up in your business. Okay, love you. Bye.